Welcome back to the Crypto World channel. In this video, I'll be showing you exactly where Bitcoin will be heading next, and I'll be discussing this price pattern that just played out exactly how I said it would in my last video on this channel. So in just a moment, I'll be discussing my next Bitcoin price targets, where I think Bitcoin will be going in the short term and where I think Bitcoin will be going in the long term later this year. Also in this video, I'll be including my Ethereum analysis, and I'll be providing my Ethereum short-term targets for you guys. And I'll also be including Chainlink towards the end of the video, so make sure you watch the entire video so you don't miss any of this valuable information. Also on the channel soon, I will be posting a full TradingView tutorial for beginners. If you don't already know what TradingView is, this is TradingView. This is what I use to look at the charts of cryptos. So yeah, I'll be posting a TradingView tutorial for beginners on the channel soon, so make sure you stick around. And if all of that sounds good to you, make sure you smash the like down on this video right now. It only takes 5 seconds, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It really helps out the channel a lot, and I appreciate it so much. But yeah, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about, and let's look at the Bitcoin chart right here. We're on the 2-hour chart, and as you can see, Bitcoin has almost completed the head and shoulders pattern as I mentioned in the last video. Like seriously, if you take a look at my previous video on this channel, I mentioned this exact head and shoulders forming. I already saw the right shoulder, I saw the head, and the last video I made at around this area here when Bitcoin just began to get this bounce off around the $30,000 level. And as you can see, what's happened since the last video is Bitcoin has perfectly come up and got a good bounce off this level, and it's actually forming the final shoulder, the right shoulder, to complete the head and shoulders. So within the next day or so, if Bitcoin comes back down to around the $30,000 level, and if it breaks below $30,000, then that is actually very bearish. Like seriously, the level to look out for right now with Bitcoin is the $30,000 level. That is so important. If Bitcoin holds that level, then we are looking bullish. Bitcoin could very well begin to head to new all-time highs right now from this price where it's at now. It's sitting at around $34,500 per Bitcoin right now. And yeah, like I said, no one knows 100% what will happen next, so it could just go straight back up, who knows? But what I'm saying is keep an eye on that $30,000 level, this big level here, because if Bitcoin breaks below this level, then chances are Bitcoin will go a decent bit lower. Now, what are my targets for if Bitcoin breaks the $30,000 level? Well, I'll show you guys that right now. I'll quickly just measure a rough target for if Bitcoin breaks down on this head and shoulder pattern. And if Bitcoin does have a breakdown, then we're looking at around the $20,000 level. Now, do I really think Bitcoin's going that low? And to be honest, I don't think Bitcoin will be going that low on this retracement. That's technically the price target for this head and shoulders, but normally price targets don't get met 100% of the time. For example, if everyone's looking at that same price, people will begin to start buying in before Bitcoin actually gets down to those levels, which will mean the price will never actually get all the way down to those $20,000 levels. If Bitcoin breaks below that $30,000 level, the levels that I would actually be looking out for is around the $23,000 level. I'll map it out on the chart right here, and as you can see, it comes in confluence with this big price area here. A lot of volume was traded around this area, and this was the first big area where the price traded above the $20,000 all-time high, and it formed strong support in this $23,000 area. So if Bitcoin does break below the $30,000 level, then my lowest target would be at around the $23,000 level. In this bearish scenario, this is not financial advice, but here's what I will be doing. I will be accumulating as much Bitcoin as I can below the $25,000 level. Like if Bitcoin drops to around the mid $20,000 levels, around 25K, then I myself will be accumulating as much as I can and holding that Bitcoin for the long term. Because while this price action is technically bearish right now, I seriously think that Bitcoin is extremely bullish long term, and we're definitely going to be breaking into new all-time highs again later this year. Now, I'm just going to zoom out onto the daily chart here and go all the way back to the 2017 bull run. As you can see back here in 2017, this vertical line, that's the halving that we had in 2016. And obviously this one here we had in May 2020. So these lines are the halvings. And so right now, as you can see, this is kind of the first big retracement that we've had since the halving, really. And if you look back at the previous big bull run after the 2016 halving, Bitcoin did a very similar thing to what it's actually doing now. If you look here on the chart, this is showing the entire 2017 bull run. So this is the 2016 halving. And this is the $20,000 all-time high, well, the old all-time high at the end of 2017. And obviously Bitcoin had some killer gains throughout that year and a half. But anyway, Bitcoin's doing some very similar things right now to what it did back in the 2017 run. If you look here in the middle of this last bull cycle, this is the middle of 2017, guys. Bitcoin had a huge run up and then it had this retracement. And this isn't just some normal run up and retracement. This is very similar to what's happening right now, and I'll show you why. If I delete that out of the way, and if you actually look a little bit closer, Bitcoin back here actually formed a very similar head and shoulders pattern to what it's forming right now. So as you can see, Bitcoin back in the middle of 2017, the price ran up from around $900 all the way up to around $3,000. So that's a pretty big run up. And once again, we've seen that similar sort of gain recently over the past few months. And at the top here, well, this local top, Bitcoin formed a right shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. It bounced around a couple more times before it broke down, and then it broke down. It didn't actually reach the full head and shoulders target, as I just mentioned. People would have been looking at this head and shoulders pattern and buying in before it reached the target, which is why it didn't reach the full target. And then it began to head higher and break into new all-time highs within the next few weeks and months. And I honestly think over the next few days and weeks right now, a very similar thing will play out in Bitcoin. Now, from the breakout back here, when Bitcoin broke below this neckline, it fell about another 25% to the downside. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin will do that again. Chances are it's not going to do that exactly again, but I seriously think something similar could definitely play out. It's actually quite likely to. Now, I'll show you guys what the target would have been back here. So the target for this head and shoulders pattern actually would have been at around $1,700 US. But Bitcoin on this retracement only came down to around 1850. So yeah, Bitcoin fell short of the target and began heading up before it hit the bottom of this head and shoulders target. And now zooming back out and going over to the current day, and I'll zoom back into the 2 hours so we can see the head and shoulders more clearly. And as you can see, something very similar is happening right now to what I just showed you back in 2017. Obviously, we've seen this absolutely massive run up, and now we're forming this head and shoulders pattern. Now, in my opinion, what I'm seeing on the charts and what's happened in the past, the most likely scenario to play out is Bitcoin will bounce around these levels for a little while longer, maybe the next few days, before it makes its next move. And its next move is more likely to be a bearish move. And if that happens once again, if it breaks $30,000, then we could definitely be heading to around the mid $20,000 levels. And once again, in around 25 to 26K, I myself will be accumulating Bitcoin. It's up to you what you want to do with your money. This is not financial advice, but that's just what I'm doing. I'm letting you know my strategy. But it's worth noting this doesn't have to happen. This isn't a completed head and shoulders yet. This head and shoulders pattern doesn't complete until Bitcoin actually breaks below the $30,000 level. While this is a bearish pattern, Bitcoin could very well just head to new all-time highs from here. There's actually no way of knowing for sure. But I just want to let everyone know that if you've kind of missed out on this huge run up in Bitcoin over the last few months, right now, what's happening on the charts is your buying opportunity. A lot of people have been waiting for a big retracement recently in Bitcoin, and this is the retracement. Do not miss this opportunity, because in my opinion, Bitcoin will for sure break all-time highs again later this year. Just to let you know my longer term targets, my end of year target for Bitcoin is at least $100,000 US per Bitcoin. And while that might seem a bit crazy right now, we only have to have the same gain that we had in 2020. And if we just have that same gain in 2021, then we'll be at $100,000 Bitcoin. And to be honest, there's a lot of investors out there that are smarter than me that are calling for even higher prices than $100,000. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know that while this short-term price action does look bearish, I am very bullish long-term, and do not take this video as a sign to sell Bitcoin in any way. I'm only seeing this as a buying opportunity. Now, bringing out the RSI, in my last video, I said that Bitcoin is forming a hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. I'll map it out again on the chart right now. So as you can see, we had a low here and a higher low here. And on the RSI, if you look at the lows, we had a low and a lower low. So this is known as a hidden bullish divergence. And as I said in my previous video, you can even go check it out on my channel if you want. I said that chances are after this hidden bullish divergence, Bitcoin will probably just be heading sideways or perhaps even head back up a little bit while the bears are losing steam. And that has exactly played out on the charts since my last video. Like honestly, if you watch my last video on my channel, pretty much everything I said in that video has actually happened since then. So yeah, make sure you're not missing any of the valuable information that I say in these videos. Like watch it all the way through and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of these videos in the future. Now heading over to Ethereum, here we are on the Ethereum US dollar chart on the 2-hour chart. As you can see, Ethereum also had this big run up and it has seen a small retracement since then, but Ethereum isn't actually looking as bearish as Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's obviously forming that head and shoulders pattern as I just mentioned, but Ethereum isn't forming the same head and shoulders pattern. Like honestly, the most bearish thing I can say about Ethereum right now is the fact that Bitcoin is looking bearish and Ethereum tends to follow what Bitcoin does. But yeah, anyway, zooming out to the 1-day chart on Ethereum to look at the bigger picture here, we have seen quite a lot of volume come in, showing a strong tension between the bulls and the bears right now. In fact, on many of the top exchanges like Coinbase and even PayPal, for example, volume over the past couple days have been the highest volume levels we've ever seen in history. So that just goes to show you that there's a lot more people in this space right now and there's a lot more interest. So while we are in the middle of a retracement right now, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the whole crypto space in general is making a lot of bullish progress, both in the fundamentals and the technicals. Now, if anything, we did actually need this retracement, especially for Ethereum, because Ethereum became very overbought on the RSI, as you can see. On the bigger time frames, such as the daily time frame, when cryptos enter this huge overbought areas, chances are that they're going to either head down or at least head sideways for a little while. Like if I zoom out, if you look back here, Ethereum entered huge overbought areas just here, and right after that, we had a huge correction. Once again, Ethereum entered some huge overbought areas just here, as you can see, and Ethereum started heading sideways after that and head down a little bit before it began heading back up again. And also just here, Ethereum entered overbought areas on the daily, and we did see a little correction here. And once again, what just happened recently is Ethereum entered these massive overbought areas, as you can see, and we had that correction that we always see. So this is perfectly normal price action. This is nothing to worry about. We were due for this correction sometime soon, and if anything, this is really healthy to shake out the weaker hands, and this will give us more fuel in the long run to go higher. And what do I mean by that? Well, newer investors especially, basically people with weak hands that can just easily buy and sell pretty much, chances are a lot of those people that have weak hands sold their crypto along this retracement, because this retracement was pretty decent, especially in Ethereum. We retraced about 32% from top to bottom. So especially for newer investors, that can be pretty scary. And so what happens is a lot of people panic sell when we get down here, when the price is already starting to bottom out and, you know, they've sold out of their position. And then when eventually it begins to head into new all-time highs, the people that just panic sold down here, that got shaken out because of their weak hands, they would be buying back in here because of FOMO when Ethereum and other cryptos eventually head to new all-time highs. And obviously this is just more fuel for us to go higher in the long term. Believe it or not, if Ethereum and Bitcoin went straight up, we would not go as high as we would if we actually had retracements along the way. Those retracements essentially just take the weak hands out of the market and keep them on the sidelines as potential buyers, making more buying pressure when the price gets to new all-time highs. Now, what are my targets for Ethereum right now? And to be honest, I'm actually quite neutral on Ethereum. Once again, Ethereum isn't looking that bearish, at least compared to Bitcoin. Ethereum is not forming that head and shoulders pattern that Bitcoin is forming. And there's not really that many bearish signs that you could say about Ethereum as of right now. I would honestly just be keeping an eye on what Bitcoin will be doing. I've already given you my targets for Bitcoin, and Ethereum tends to follow what Bitcoin does. So if you're holding Ethereum, just pay attention to Bitcoin over the next few days, and chances are Ethereum will play out similar to what Bitcoin does. Now, how long could this retracement last for? Well, back in 2017, all of the retracements that we had back then, the average retracement lasted for around 2 weeks from top to bottom. So from the top that we had here at around the 10th of January, and if you map out 2 weeks, then really we could continue in this retracement up until around the 24th of January. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but that would be pretty normal if we did see that. That was the length of the average retracement back in the 2017 bull run. The shortest retracement back then was 1 week long, and the longest retracement was actually a month long. So I'm just throwing that in there to kind of get your expectations to around those standards, because you shouldn't really expect Bitcoin and Ethereum to be in all-time highs again tomorrow, but chances are within the next month, Bitcoin and Ethereum will have pretty much well recovered from this retracement. Now, heading over to the Chainlink chart, as I said I would in the beginning of the video, right now we're on the 4-hour Chainlink USD chart, and there's one obvious price level that I will be paying attention in Chainlink, and that will be this level right here. This level that I've just mapped out on the chart is the $13 level. And why is this so important? Well, you can see how much support and resistance this has come into contact with. If I just zoom back out a little bit, you can see how important this level has been for Chainlink. There was huge resistance back here for Chainlink before, you know, Chainlink got rejected and head down. Back here, huge resistance. It got rejected from this level and it head back down. There was resistance at this level, and as soon as it broke above, bang, it shot up. There was more resistance back here, bit of support here, resistance here, bit of support here, and we've recently been supported again at the $13 level. Like seriously, this level is so important for Chainlink to hold right now. So if you're in Chainlink right now, or if you're looking to buy Chainlink, then I will be paying strong attention to the $13 level. Now, apart from that level, what other levels will I be looking out for? And I would be looking out for these moving averages. Right now on the chart, I've mapped out the 200-day moving average, which is the red line, and the 21-week EMA, which is the blue line. These levels have also provided some pretty decent support for Chainlink in the past, as you can see right here, and right now we did actually get a bounce off the 21-week EMA. Throughout Chainlink's history, if you bought at around the 21-week EMA, or especially if you bought below the 21-week EMA, you would have made huge profits almost instantly after that buy. Now, when I say almost instantly, I don't mean like a minute later, I mean over the next few days. But yeah, anyway, the 21-week EMA, this blue line, has proven to be a pretty good buy indicator for Chainlink. Now, I was early to Chainlink. I originally bought into Chainlink at around $2, but I have been accumulating more Chainlink around the 21-week EMA. And as of right now, the 21-week EMA is sitting just below that $13 level. So if you're someone that's looking to buy into Chainlink, this is your buying opportunity. This is not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing, but I'm buying into Chainlink at around the $13 to $14 level. And I'm holding for the long term because once again, I seriously think that Chainlink will definitely break its $20 all-time high later this year. Chainlink was one of the top performing cryptos last year. It closed the year at over a 6x gain, which is massive. And I seriously think that this year it will see a similar gain. But yeah, my targets for Chainlink, well, if the bearish scenario plays out and if Chainlink does break below the $13 level, then I'll be looking at around the 200-day moving average, which right now is sitting at around $11.50. And if it breaks that, then I will be looking at around these lows back here, which is around $10 to $10.50. I seriously think that the $13 level and these moving averages will hold the Chainlink price. It's not 100% certain to hold, but these levels have previously provided huge support for Chainlink. And it's pretty likely that it will continue to provide support for Chainlink in the future. Now, if you notice, I'm not really discussing too many bullish targets right now, and that's because I don't really have any bullish targets as of right now. Obviously, I have long-term bullish targets, so I have very bullish targets towards the end of the year. But in the short term, if you're looking at the short-term trend, we are in a small downtrend. And as the saying goes, the trend is your friend. So I'm riding this downtrend to the downside until it begins to break above certain price levels. And how will you know what those price levels are? Well, when it makes new higher highs, that's how you know it's broken the downtrend and it's beginning its uptrend again. But yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button on the video right now and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It only takes like 5 seconds to do that, and it means so much to me and it helps the channel so much. I appreciate all of your support in these videos, like seriously, and I also read all of your comments and reply to every single one of your comments. So if you have anything to say or any questions to ask, or if you have any feedback or suggestions for me, let me know in the comments down below and I'll be sure to turn those into future videos on the channel. Once again, in my last video, quite a few people in the comment section requested a trading view tutorial and some more beginner videos. And so I definitely noted that down and I will be making those videos on the channel soon. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss those videos. But yeah, anyway, that's that's just about it for this video. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this whole video. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you all in the next video.